You can do this, Joe. You know how to say it. You can do this. Well, today we're doing something a little bit different because I'm not going for carp, and instead I'm going to be targeting...
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
I'm going to be targeting...
What did he say?
I'm going to be targeting Bream.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
Sorry.
Something ain't right.
I'm going to be targeting Bream.
Oh, no.
I'm targeting Bream.
No, God! No, God, please, no!
All right, hang on a second. Hang on. Hear me out. As a carp angler, or predominantly a carp angler, and lots of my viewers are carp anglers, you can probably agree with me when I say that when you catch a bream, when you're carp fishing, it's not exactly a momentous occasion. They don't fight well on carp here because we use heavier tackle, and so when you're bringing in a bream at 100 yards on 13 foot, 3.5 pound Tesco rod, it is a nuisance. It's like bringing in a wet sock. But as a lot of you have probably said as well, I know I said it a lot of times, I'm sure bream would be good fun on dedicated tackle. But in over the 15 years plus of angling I've done, I have never once targeted bream on dedicated tackle. So that's exactly what I'm going to do today. I've blew the dust off my first ever rod that I bought when I was, first getting into fishing as a teenager. It's a power Waggler. It's an Avanti Argenta X PSP Powercast Waggler 12 foot. So it's a 12 foot rod and it's very, very soft action. So that's the idea, is I'm using lighter tackle today to target the bream. And I know they go up to pretty good size in here. I'm at shearwater and I have caught plenty of bream up here on my carp gear. And they go up to pretty decent size in here, well over double figures, I believe. And so I'm sure that on dedicated tackle, I should get a decent fight with them. Now, that's not to say that I'm not going to catch any carp today. I'm sure there's a very big chance of catching them, but I am deliberately going with pellet, ground bait, small hook bait, sweetcorn, everything I can put in my favour to try and catch bream. So even if I don't enjoy today, I can say I've actually gone for bream, and I can say, yes, they are good fun if you're fishing for them on dedicated tackle, or nah, not for me. But now I can actually say that after catching bream without being a bit of a hypocrite, because I've never done it myself. And those of you that do fish for bream, I'm sure you watch this video and think you're doing that all wrong. That's fine. Let me know in the comment section what to change next time. But I am going for lighter tackle. I've got, I think it's 10 pound mainline on here, which the reason I haven't gone lighter than that is because there is a good chance of catching carp today, and I don't want to be really undergunned. The rod, as I said, is my first ever rod I bought. It's really soft action, so it should be good fun catching anything on this. Then we're going down to, I think it's a 1 and a bit ounce method feeder, loads of method mix. We'll go through all that in a second, but for now, I'm actually going to use a spod to get a bit of bait out there to start with. When I fished up here before for the carp, and I've introduced pellet, that is usually when the bream turn up. Solid bags with little micro pellets in seem to get breamed out constantly. So I'm deliberately going to put out a load of small pellet, deliberately going to put out sweet corn, trying to draw them in, and hopefully we won't get any of those nuisance carp today. All jokes aside, I'm actually quite excited for this session. It's been a long time really since I've gone fishing, and thought I'm really looking forward to see what happens. And I never thought I was saying that about bream, and I may get to the end of the session and think never again, but we've got to try it first to see if we actually like it. Now, I've got some bait out there already. I spotted out probably 5 or 6 half spodfuls of pellet, and then 1 tin of sweet corn, and that's it. I've let that sit out there for probably about half an hour whilst I've set everything else up. Now, the actual setup I'm using is quite simple. It's a open feeder, method feeder. I'm not sure of the exact name. It's not one of those that's like a flat pair where the weight's one side and you put your ground bait on the top. It's one that you put the mix all the way around. I think it's one of the Korda ones. Can't remember the name off the top of my head. But then that goes down to a really simple, probably 5-inch supple braid rig. Now, this is pretty much a tactic you'd use for carp, and I've caught so many bream on carp tactics up here before, I know it should work. And so using slightly scaled down carp tactics should do the job, and that's exactly what I've done here. So about 5-inch hook link, sort of thing I'd put inside a solid bag, only the hook is slightly smaller, at a size 8. It's quite a small size 8 as well, so it looks more like a 10 to an 8. And those of you that go for bream more often than me will probably say that's still way too big, but that's what I'm sticking with today, because as I said, there's a high probability of catching some carp today as well. So I want to have tackle that will still cope with carp. And then hook bait wise, I've got one of the little cell quads, so a small hook bait. Again, they'll take bigger boilies than that in here, but I'm whittling down, so there's still a chance of potentially even catching roach and things like that on this setup. But that is what is pinging out. the bait should have done its job for me so far. There, I've seen the odd bow wave and bubbles coming up, so we'll ping this out and see what the day brings. Genuinely am excited about this. So, first cast of the day. And I'm not using one of those dirty, stinking bite alarms. I'm a purist today on watching the tip. Although the fact that I could get some carp still, I am going to flick on the free spool function, just in case that tip smacks round on something larger than a bream. And there we are, we're fishing. What do bream anglers do when they wait for a bite? Do they still stick a kettle on, make a brew, bake and butty, waste away the time? Oh, little tickle already. Oh, right, there's already some fish on the ball because the tip keeps tapping round. So I doubt it'll be long. There's a lot of small fish in here, like roach, rudd and stuff and perch, so I'm expecting to get a lot of those sort of taps on the feeder. Fingers crossed that whacks round soon. Oh, another tap. And this is usually the part where I'd have 3 rods out, bobbins on, bite alarms on, and I'd be sitting back about 10 foot behind the rods with the kettle on, phone in hand, being extremely lazy, waiting for the rods to go off. So I can see already this is a very much more involved style of fishing because I'm watching that tip constantly tap round. The sort of indication you wouldn't get on a bite alarm fishing for carp because you're fishing heavier weights, the bobbins aren't moving as much, and I know I'm fishing a method which will get a lot more activity from the smaller fish, which is what these little taps are. I'm just waiting for that tip to smack round. I haven't done this sort of fishing in donkey's years. It should be good fun. That's got to be a bite. Yep. Fish on. Could this be the first bream of the day? It's not feeling carpy. It's a bream. I just got excited about a bream. Well, I was going to attempt to show you my first bream of the day, but he had other ideas. Not a very big one, but it's a start. And kind of enjoyed that. Okay, it's a genuine question for you all. I just caught my first bream of the day, and it was good fun, but I absolutely stink after one fish. Now, I get home from a carp fishing session, and my wife lets me know that I absolutely stink to high heaven, and I have to jump in the shower as quick as possible. But do bream anglers even have partners, or how do they even manage to cope with the smell? Because even I'm struggling as an angler. That one bream honks. So I know that if I got home today, I reckon the divorce papers would be on the table quicker than dinner. So let me know, what do you do to keep that smell off you? Because it's awful. Anyway, let's get this back out. Fish on already. Yeah, there is. Fish on already. Number 2, about the same size as the first one. And as expected, they are putting up a bit more of a scrap on a lighter action rod. Hopefully we get something a bit bigger, so I know they go 2 or 3 times the size of this. But that shows that the method's working. Get it back out. You can probably tell by my face, just sat here staring with a bit of a grin on my face. This is good fun, just watching that tip. It's such an active method of fishing. I can see every time a fish is hitting that method ball, so I'm getting the little taps and knocks. There's clearly fish in the area. That could be little roach, rudd, perch, anything like that, just hitting the method ball. And then when a bream takes it, it's quite obvious, because although this isn't a quiver tip, it's just a very soft action float rod, it's still very clear when I get a bite. So it's good fun. and the little knocks have just dried up ever so slightly. I know there's another little one there, so I don't think it's going to be long till that tip smacks round. There's no denying that was a bite. And it's another bream on the feel of things, but yeah, there's no denying when you get a bite. Call that smack round. Well, I don't know how often I'd go out for just bream, but one thing I do want to do with my angling, as I've done so many years of carp fishing, is broaden my horizons, fish for different species, keep it fresh. And so far, as you can see from the smile on my face, I am really enjoying fishing for bream when I'm actually going for them. Oh, a bit of a better size. There we have it. Method ball's not even fully broken down yet. Bream in the net. Bit paler this one. The first two have been quite brown in colour. This one's a bit paler. Nice. Back you go, buddy. Well, that's a bite. Yes. See, actually giving up a fight, and this is what it's all about. Normally this would be like bringing in a PV bag that hadn't dissolved on a carp rod. I still think a bigger bream would put up a better scrap, but it's bending the rod at least. Over slab this one. Well, I've been fishing for about half an hour now, and I've had 4 bream already, so I'm just going to top up the swim, because I think if I'm getting bites that quickly, there's a likelihood that there's a lot of fish out there, and they'll be mopping up that bait in no time. So I'm only putting out pellet and corn, and the 5 or so spots of powder at the start, and a tin of corn could easily all be gone already. So I'm going to keep on putting the bait in, and hopefully keeps them there, and we can start getting amongst some of the even bigger bream, because I know there's some absolute slabs to be had out of here. Apologies if any bream anglers don't call them slabs, and they call them specimen bream, but I'm just going by what I've always called them. Right, there's 3 more spods of pellet out. Get the metal feeder back out. Oh, hello. Taking a photo for Instagram. That's a bite. There it is. There we go, another one. Get it back. I'm grinning like a Cheshire cat because my daughter is learning to crawl at the moment, and I've just been sent an update from my wife at home. This morning she's moved probably about 3 foot under her own steam. Looks a bit ropey, but she's making movements. Brilliant. Been a good day so far, and there is another bite. How's that for timing? All round good day so far. Ooh, that feels a better fish. Although I've said this a few times. And put a decent bend in the rod, this one. And this will be bream number 7, I think. 7. A few head nods. I don't know whether it's the biggest, but it's certainly given the best scrap. And he's in. We're not far off the biggest of the trip. Oh, I just got a soaking wet foot Oh, you. Oh, water in the welly. Oh, lovely. That is full as well. There we go, fish number 7. And I am actually enjoying bream fishing. Never thought I'd say that, despite the soaking wet foot. It's just the smell. They stink. They are so smelly. What? Oh. Well. I've just topped up the swim with probably 5 or 6 spods of pellet, and they definitely seem to respond to having a bit of bait put on top of them. I mean, this place is known for lots of spotting, and even if you look around at any one time, there's probably at least 2 or 3 people spotting around the lake, so they are very much used to the noise. And that's not just the carp, go away wasp, but also the bream as well. They obviously know that means food incoming, so that definitely worked. The rod was out and wasn't getting any touches or anything. It dried up a bit, so I was spodding on top of it, and as I was doing that, I had the latest bite. So that now puts me on 8 bream, and I'm ready to put another ball back out. Just added a bit more of the stick mix, so it's really stinky and it's sticking better again. It's just starting to dry up ever so slightly, so I've got the mix better. And it's just a really simple ground bait mix, which is from local tackle shop, dedicated for bream. I've added some sweet corn to it, some pellet, of course I'm putting pellet out separately as well, and then just some of the stick mix, isofish, and then some of the swim stem stuff. And I've actually just made a little change to the hook bait. I've whittled down a pink square pop-up just so it's really in your face rather than just a topper. The hook bait is really small now, probably about the size of a large grain of corn. It's something completely different to what else you can see on there, and as you can see, the size of the ground bait ball is just big enough that even if that hook bait flies backwards, there's absolutely no way it can tangle round the main line. Whatever direction it goes round, the ground bait ball is in the way. So it's pretty much foolproof. You cannot really get a tangle on this at all. The only way you get a tangle is if that dissolves down in the water, you get a aborted take and it drops it back on your line. So it's a pretty safe method of putting the rig and bait out there, and it's very similar in principle really to a solid bag rig. Some people put their hook baits into the ground bait mix like that, but I want to have it separate so that I potentially get really quick bites. With that now being high vis, I'm using my carp fishing brain really for bream, but it seems to do the trick. They tend to take the same sort of things as carp do, so let's see if going really high vis with a pink hook bait makes a difference to the bite times or number of fish we have. So we're on 8 now, and I've just had my lunch. I've put out a few more spots of bait, as I said, so the swim should be primed and ready. Let's get this out there and hopefully have a good final couple of hours of my session. You can see this rod isn't really built for big method balls, but it is helping me cast the short distance I'm fishing. Boink. There we go. 4.
Oh, that's right.
Once again, introducing bait ends up with a bite. Actually quite a good size, this one. But you absolutely stink, mate, so you're going back. Well, unfortunately, fish number 10 just didn't come along. No matter how hard I tried, I persevered, I just couldn't quite get number 10. And that speaks volumes, the fact that I was pushing to try and get another one, because I was actually enjoying myself. I'm not ashamed to admit it, as a predominantly carp angler, I really enjoyed myself fishing today, because at the end of the day, fishing is what I enjoy doing, not just carp fishing. So the fact that I was targeting bream, I actually enjoy it. Actually, the kit I used today was still a bit overgunned, I think. Although I was using quite a soft rod, the rod was okay. I just think the line could have been a bit lighter, my actual hook links could have been smaller, hooks could have been smaller, maybe use maggots and things like that, and I think I would have ended up getting more bites. I may even whittle down some more of a quiver tip type setup, something that's really is dedicated to the smaller fish I've been catching. But I did still enjoy myself, and I hope you enjoyed this video as well. And this is me hoping to broaden my horizons when it comes to fishing a different species, whether that be going for bream, which I don't think I'm going to do anytime soon again, because I want to try other species. But things like sea fishing, barbel fishing, pike fishing coming into the winter, I haven't done that properly for years. So hopefully going into the future, lots more content coming from me on a variety of different species, and I'm going to enjoy doing it. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you again in the next one.